Hi everyone, it's Taylor. Welcome back to my channel. I'm an American expat living in Malaysia and I like to share my life and travels with you. I get a lot of email from older folks that want to retire to Malaysia. But recently I got an email from a younger viewer who watches my channel. And he's in Malaysia and he loves it. And I'm going to talk to him about how he likes it. Sound interesting? Stay tuned. So I'm here today with my new friend Johnny. He's originally from Ireland, but he's in Malaysia now. Johnny, can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got to Malaysia?
Absolutely. So it's nice to meet everyone and thank you for having me on the channel today.
Sure.
So background, I guess I am a tech guy, right? I work online. That's how I, make my money. So I guess it's classified as a digital nomad. So I've been doing that since I was 21. I've been very, very fortunate, very, very lucky. And I met my best friend in college, right, back in Ireland, who was Malaysian. So I'd never heard about Malaysia, right? It was always my dream to go off to the States and, do it big. But he was like, you got to come to Malaysia. And
wow.
Here we are.
That's great. You hadn't told me that's how you got interested in Malaysia. And it's sort of the same with me. I had been to Malaysia, but I didn't really think much about it. But then I met somebody that lived here and encouraged me to retire here. So that's how I got here. So do you come from a big family?
Big in the sense, maybe 2 siblings, 2 little sisters, but I guess it depends on where you are in the world, right? I think for an Irish family, it's quite normal. I know that some families, some of my friends, they've got 7 or 8 siblings, so, it really depends on where you are in the world. So for Irish standards, pretty normal.
I had 4, so.
Yeah, there you go.
Do you still live in Ireland? Is it your home base, or where's your home base now?
Yeah, no, so Ireland is definitely my home base. I think you need to have a place to be grounded, right? But I think it's great to, see the world and explore different opportunities. Because I'm quite young, I'm still trying to figure out where, I want to raise a family or, have a good network of people. So Ireland is definitely my home base, but I often come to Malaysia because I do love it here. So I'll often spend maybe, 5 to 6 months, maybe longer, maybe shorter. It really depends on, how things are.
So you've been to Malaysia before. What are your impressions of Malaysia and the people here?
Hot. Yeah, so, as your viewers can probably tell, as an Irishman, I'm quite pale, right? I cover it well with, tattoos or whatever, but, if you ever meet me in person, you kind of look at me twice going, damn, that's a pale dude. So when I first arrived in Malaysia, yeah, the heat hits you, right? Especially when you're leaving the airport. And I've never experienced this type of heat, right? So often I'd go to Spain or France or somewhere in Europe and you'd be like, oh, this is lovely weather, but Malaysian heat it's a different breed, right? It's similar to Singapore as well. And then, obviously I'm very lucky that my best friend is Malaysian. He picked me up at the airport and the first thing we did, I'll never forget it. We went to go and have, nasi lemak, right? My first ever Malaysian dish. Blew my mind. I was just like, give me more seconds, and yeah, it was just, the food, the people, the weather, it was just a very, very good first impression.
Really? I don't like nasi lemak. I hate to say that in front of my viewers, but it's fishy and I don't like anything fishy.
Yeah, that's fair. Look, each to their own, Taylor. I think for me, I'm a big fish guy, so.
Yeah, well, there you have it. I mean, you have to be a big fish guy to like Malaysian cuisine, really. Have you stayed in other Southeast Asia countries?
Yes. So when I first came to Malaysia 2 years ago. And then I decided, okay, I'm in Malaysia. Why not explore around a bit or whatever? So I went to Singapore. I went to the Philippines. I went to Thailand. I went to Vietnam. It was a really good experience. But I do think, for me, Malaysia has a really good blend of almost all of those countries and just kind of combined into one, if that makes sense.
And of course, English being so widely spoken is a huge help.
Yeah, I think so. And maybe even back to your original question in terms of my first impressions of Malaysia, maybe that's why it was so, I guess, easy to, settle down because everyone does speak very good English here, right? Which is really, it's amazing.
Well, it makes it a lot less scary when you're thinking about moving to another country and, you can speak your native tongue.
Yeah. Well, I think, look, I know a few swear words in Chinese, but we'll keep that for another video for any Chinese viewers. I can speak some Malay as well, abakabar, stuff like that.
Oh, that's better than me.
Very basic. Yeah.
Do you speak any other languages?
Yeah, so I speak German. So in Ireland we have our native language, which is, it's kind of, unfortunately it is dying out, but it's still spoken in some areas, called Gaeilge. And then obviously I speak English as well.
Okay, cool. So we already talked about how fair-skinned you are. Do you do anything special to deal with the heat and the sun here?
Guilty as charged. I'm probably lazier than I probably should be more proactive. I should be wearing more sun cream. I should be having the umbrella when I'm going out. I think every Irish person can relate where we like to think that we can tan, and I'm still probably a bit delusional where I think I can tan, but I can't. I am coming to terms. The older I get, the more I realize that I'm just not built for being tan. So in terms of how I deal with the heat, I stay indoors, or I try and avoid, if there's sunspots, or even today now there's quite a heavy amount of sun, so I'll try and avoid that. And really just be smart about it, take the car when I need to take the car, and stay in the mall when I need to stay in the mall, or work from a coffee shop inside. Yeah. I definitely wouldn't be laying out on the beach here or whatever, unfortunately.
Do you have sunscreen on now?
No.
No? I don't wear it at all.
Yeah.
And, but I do tan some. But
yeah, you got a nice color.
You can still see I'm pretty fair.
Well, compared to me, you're
dark
very dark skinned. Yeah. But again, I'm covered in tattoos, so it's kind of.
Do you want to show?
Yeah, I'm still getting this work done. I tapped out here, but so we have kind of like an Irizumi style sleeve, and then I got these when I was very, very young. And I have my back done as well. So yeah, it's
And you said some of these you did yourself?
Yeah, so there was a few that I tried to do myself. There's a method called a hand stick poke method, and I've always liked art, and I've always liked drawing as well. So often I'd be, tapping away on my skin and, seeing what sticked and what doesn't and what didn't stick. But eventually I kind of wanted to go for more of a flow and more of a professional kind of a tattoo artist. So I love them. I think they're beautiful. And yeah, more to come, I guess. But I'll never get my hands or my face or my neck done because I do like to turn them off.
Yeah, I noticed that when I met you, that you had on a long sleeve shirt, and I wouldn't have known that you were tattooed. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's sort of cool because then you can be in a professional business setting without people judging you for your tattoos.
Yeah, I think so. I do think, my generation, it's probably, depending where you are in the world, obviously, but in Europe anyway, it's probably more uncommon not to have a tattoo than it is to have a tattoo. But on your point, I do like to be able to, depending on what situation I'm in, just turn them off.
Yeah.
That's how I describe it. Just turn it off and it's, yeah.
I think that's awesome. So Johnny, you seem like a really easygoing guy. Have you found it easy to meet people here in Malaysia?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's not just me. I think it's, being Irish, we're quite friendly. I think we're quite an open people. I think anyone who's watching who knows an Irish person, you probably have a similar experience where we're very open and we just like to be friendly, right? So I think when it comes to anywhere in the world, I've never really struggled to make friends or to have conversations with people. And I think Malaysian people, because they're so diverse, it's not weird that, you'd be going up to them and talking to them and they'd be curious about your background and you might be curious about their background as well. So yeah, so far it's been really, really easy for me to make friends. But everyone's different, I'm definitely a bit of an extrovert. I like to, kind of be outgoing and, I think that makes it easier. Well, if you're an introvert and you like your own time and own space, it might be a bit more difficult.
Well, I'm more of an introvert. But I found that Malaysians are, to be nice about it, really nosy, and they want to know everything they can about you.
Yeah, I definitely get that. I guess for me, it's, a lot of the questions do come from like the tattoos and, a funny one I always get is, oh, did they hurt? I'm like, yeah, needle in the skin definitely hurt, and they cost a lot or whatever. But I think it's also charming in a way. I think it's nice to get asked questions because I think I'm always asking people questions and I never really get to talk about myself. So it's nice to be able to, I guess, share that experience with Malaysians because I do know being, a Muslim country, some of them can't get tattoos, right? It's against their religion and it makes me even more curious,
Yeah, cool. So I understand you've been approved for the digital nomad visa here. That's awesome. In fact, it's been since I've known him. He texted me right away when he got the word. Can you tell my viewers a little bit about the procedure and if it was easy or not?
Yeah, of course. So yeah, I just got approved for the digital nomad visa. It's I'm going to butcher the pronunciation. It's pronounced Rampal by MDEC. So the procedure. So I'll be very honest. It took 9 months. You know, it was very long. There's a lot of documentation. There's a lot of back and forth. You know, there's a lot of just a lot of stuff that you have to send over and then resend over. So it wasn't an easy process, but what I will say is it wasn't an easy process for me, right? Everyone is different. So I know people who have gotten it within 6 weeks, right? They just had everything in order. I guess typical, you know, me being me and kind of all over the place sometimes. It took as long as it did, but we got there eventually. And it's a very nice visa as well. So it means that I can, you know, work here for a year, or I can work online, I should say, for a year, and I can, you know, enter back and forth as many times as I like, and then I can renew it as well once that year is up if I need to.
Yeah, I've heard you can renew it for another year.
Yeah.
But is that it then? Is it just 2 years maximum?
I do need to do research on that. I won't lie, but from what I've looked at, I've only been able to see you can renew it once. I haven't been able to see if there's any follow-up. So I think it's perfect for digital nomads who want to be here for, I guess a year would be short term when we look at the grand scheme of things, right? It's a nice way just to understand the country, because I do think, you know, I have to see, people, and it's like they'll come to a new country and they'll be here for 2 weeks and they'll be like, oh, I love this country. It's the best country in the world. I want to live in this country. And it's just like, well, you know, stay here for 6 months, stay here for 9 months and see if you have the same opinion, right? So I do think it's a very good visa to get a taster of Malaysia and, you know, really settle down and try and get your roots in. And if they don't stick, they don't stick, right? At least you try.
I know you do something more business-like with your digital nomad visa, but would like a YouTuber qualify for one?
It depends on so there's a few factors, right? So first of all, you need to have a certain income threshold. Okay. So they won't take you unless you're making a certain amount. They won't accept you.
So they wouldn't take me, I don't think.
You never know. Like, it really depends. And also a key factor for the digital nomad visa, the DN Rantas, you have to have a very particular skill set. Okay. So they're I almost felt interrogated in terms of, you know, what do you do? How do you do it? You know, like, what is this skill set? So for me, my background is in tech. It's in AI. It's in cybersecurity. So they really digged into, you know, well, you know, what skills can you bring into Malaysia, right? And then how can you benefit our sort of ecosystem, I guess you could say. So I don't think anyone can get it. However, you know, YouTuber, there's a lot of, content is content, right? You can create whatever you want to create. So I wouldn't shut it down, but I'd have to do more research on it.
I might be able to get one because I'm basically promoting Malaysia.
There you go. You know,
and they do like that.
Ambassador for Malaysia.
Yes. Do you think being a digital nomad is a good option for people your age?
Very good question. I think, you know, it really depends on your situation, whether you work for yourself or you work for an employer who allows you to work remotely, there's lots of ways you can set it up. I think, you know, for me, I do like the idea of having a network around me. I do think the digital nomad lifestyle, it is romanticized and it's great. I can work anywhere in the world. At the end of the day, the work still needs to get done, right? So the work that I do, a lot of my clients will be in Europe. So I have to work really, you know, I wouldn't say odd hours, but it's like, it's very, very stressful. Okay, and you're away from your family, you're away from your friends back home, and I'm very, very lucky that I have a good network here and I've, you know, great friends and I get to meet people like Taylor as well. But I think, you know, it's not for everyone. It can definitely get very, very lonely, you know, and I think for me being, again, I'm an extrovert, right? I kind of like to put myself out there. Like, I wouldn't say I need people around me, but, you know, when you're stuck in a room and you're just kind of on your laptop and you're by yourself, it can kind of be a bit strange sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
So yes and no. I think it really depends on the type of person that you are. And I wouldn't do it because you want to travel around the world and make money. And I know that sounds so strange, right? I think it's almost playing devil's advocate where everybody wants to make money online and travel around the world. But I think, you know, if you're doing it for that reason, you will get lonely quite fast, I feel like, because in my experience, I've traveled a lot and the world it's beautiful and everywhere has its own unique charm. But fundamentally, everyone gets up, everyone goes to work, everyone comes home, everyone wants to be with their family and friends. Like the world, it's pretty much the same everywhere. So yes and no, just be very careful about it and understand as well the reason that you're doing it, right?
So how did you discover my channel? And what is it about my channel that appealed to you?
Yeah, so I mean, I discovered your channel on the algorithm, I guess you could say. So because I'm in Malaysia, I'll often get fed stuff that, people post here. So like yourself, you're living in Malaysia, so the algorithm pushed you up. But also what I really liked about your channel was that it was quite authentic, right? You're just being you. You're just, hi, my name is Taylor and I live in Malaysia and here's my life. And I think, we're living in a day and age where there's authenticity is very, very rare. So I found that really, really charming. And it was cool as well because you would go to some spots. And when I was here 2 years ago, I'd be like, oh my God, I was there. Oh, I was there. Oh, I recognize that. Oh yeah, it was just really, really cool to see. And also it's quite rare to find, other creators who are from Europe or America, like making content here as well. It was kind of cool in a way because often people go to, Thailand or Bali or I think Malaysia is a hidden gem, right? I think people need to kind of open it up a bit more, and I think you're that type of person, which I find really, really charming. So yeah.
Thank you so much. Well, I think that I lucked out because I sort of tapped into a market that was not there before it's retiring to Malaysia, So, people thought about it, but I don't think many people were really doing it on YouTube. So that's why it's been a moderate success anyway. So when you're not working, what do you like to do in your spare time here?
Oh, eat.
Yeah.
I like to work out, so I'm very big into the gym. I used to be an athlete. I used to swim a lot. And then I just fell in love with weightlifting. So I work out. I've got loads of workout buddies here. As weird as it sounds, I love walking as well. I know it's quite difficult here, but I'm from Galway originally, and Galway it's quite a walkable town. So I like to walk. I like to clear my head. I'm not big into clubbing or kind of the nightlife in general. It depends on who I'm more so with the people around me, right? So, hanging out with friends, and as weird as it sounds, I kind of like talking about, different business ideas, different business opportunities, because obviously it's a very diverse place and there's people from all different backgrounds. So for instance, I was having a conversation with two friends yesterday, and that turned into I'm now going to China next week to the Canton Fair, right? So it was very, very cool in terms of how that evolves. So yeah, stuff like that, I think.
Yeah. Well, I know. We meet people and it does just evolve.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to spend Thanksgiving with some American viewers who live in Singapore, and I met them a couple of years ago. So I hope to document that and maybe interview them. What do you think, guys? So I think everyone would agree that you're a good-looking guy.
Okay.
So how do you think the dating scene is like here, especially for people from other countries?
Yeah, okay. So I think looks are subjective. I'm not trying to be, your generic, it's what's on the inside that counts, right? But I think everyone has a different flavor and a different taste. So I think for me, what I would say is like with my tattoos, for instance, it's actually people either love it or they hate it, right? So I think before I had tattoos, I actually would have probably had a more dating options just with girls in general,
wow.
Right? Yeah, well, it really depends on where you are, because I think what you have to consider is I wouldn't say I'm a small guy, I'm
how tall are you?
185, so, and foot, let's say 6 foot. Yeah, let's say 6 foot.
You're more than that. You're more like 6'3" or more.
I don't know. I have no idea. I'm one of these people, I don't know how tall I actually am. I just I go off what other people say. So, I think for me personally, dating it's fine. I'm not a big dater, to be honest with you. I'm kind of, I go on dates, but I'm more so focused on other things in my life. So I think coming here, if you're looking for, going on dates and certain experiences, that's absolutely fine. Each to their own. For me, my experience in Malaysia, I like how grounded it can be. I think, I was in Thailand and it was just too much for me. As weird as that sounds, because as I said, I'm quite outgoing and stuff like that, but I think Thailand was it was too crazy. It was too fast paced. And, Malaysia has that good blend of, people have their own jobs, they have their own careers, and, they'll go on dates when they want to go on dates. So each of their own, everyone's different. For me, it's been fine, but I think fundamentally dating is kind of the same everywhere, whether it's in Europe or in Asia. A lot of people will tell you differently. But again, that's anecdotal. That's their own experience. I would never give dating advice to somebody, go out and see how you fare. And again, you might do a lot better than me, so.
Okay. What would be your advice to other young people who are thinking about traveling around the world?
Oh God.
At a young age, I should say.
Yeah, I think, do it, but do it with a purpose, I think, so for me, I'm very lucky where I can travel, but I'm always working on my career. I'm working on projects that I love. I'm building something while I'm traveling, right? I think everyone has this notion of, I'm just going to save up 15 grand and I'm going to travel the world, and that's fine. But I guess the reality is, you will have to, like, money doesn't grow on trees, right? As the saying goes. Now, I would have loved to be born into a rich oil family or a rich diamond family, and I've got 20 million in the bank and I can travel the world. But I think, do it responsibly, and don't do it with any regrets. And I think what I mean by that is, if you're going to go somewhere, go there, enjoy it, and look back in your life and go, yeah, I had a good experience, I had a bad experience, but it was my decision at the time. I don't regret anything. And that's kind of how I travel. It's whether I pick a new location or I pick a new spot, I don't expect the experience to be good. I don't expect the experience to be bad. I'm just like, don't have any regrets. So say absolutely do it. Obviously, save up or have some money. I've got mates who are into the backpacker lifestyle, and it's insane how they do it. I could never do it personally because I'm too money conscious. I need to have a certain amount in my bank account in order to travel, and enjoy my travel. But everyone's different,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I didn't travel much when I was young. In fact, I didn't really go outside the United States until I was in my late 40s. And then I did a lot of travel. But I think that's typical when you get a little bit older and you have a bit more money and can afford it. But
yeah,
I mean, I think it's easier now for young people than it used to be.
Oh, absolutely. And I do think, because of social media and our generation, like, the globalization is just everywhere, right? It's like, no matter where you go, you meet people from all parts of the world, As an Irishman, even though we're a very small Ireland, like, we are a nation of immigrants, like, we traveled around the whole world. Our history reflects that as well. And even now today, especially when you go to Australia or New Zealand or all these different places, you'll always meet an Irishman or an Irish lady.
I bet they're really excited when they meet.
Oh no, when we meet them, we're just like, who do we know? It's like, I'll meet somebody, it's like, all right, I guarantee you we'll know at least one person in our friend group. Yeah, it's a tiny nation.
Wow,
so
that's amazing.
It's cool, it is. And it's a very tight-knit community as well. I think as well, on your point about, traveling when you're young, I do have to, shout out my mother as well, who obviously is a big role model in my life, because when she was roughly my age as well, in her 20s, she went off to Australia and she traveled the world with her friends as well. So my parents have always been encouraging of, go out and see the world, do it while you're young, do it while you don't have kids or, have a mortgage or, any real responsibilities, you know what I mean? So I think, yeah, take the opportunity while you can.
If you could pick any place in the world to settle down, where would that be? Or do you just want to be a nomad?
No, I definitely want to settle down. I definitely do want to find a place to settle down. I think Malaysia is quite nice. I think it's very attractive. You have the food, the people, the overall culture here is quite beautiful as well. And I think for me personally, I could definitely see myself, find a nice lady or whatever and maybe have a nice family here as well. I personally think Ireland is a beautiful place as well. My hometown, my home country.
I've never been there.
You'd love it.
Except Shannon once. I had a emergency landing in my plane.
Shannon Airport, yeah. Well, there's not much in Shannon Airport.
No, and it was during Mad Cow, so we couldn't really go.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well look, Shannon is actually, it's a 20-minute drive from where I'm born, right? So I was born in County Clare in Ennis, right? So Shannon is quite close to where I am, but I think you'd love Ireland. So I could definitely see myself settling down in Ireland as well. I would say, again, it's not the place, it's the people. Okay, like you have the most beautiful places in the world. I've been to Saint-Tropez in France, and you look at these places and you're like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. But if you're there by yourself, you don't have a network or you don't have any friend group or any, wife or kids or whatever the case may be, I just think it gets quite lonely. So I think I wouldn't focus on the place, I focus on the people. And I think Malaysia has done a very good job. And again, I'm very fortunate that people here are very, very welcoming, right? So I think if I had to choose, it would either be Ireland or Malaysia for now. As I said, I still have a lot more experience to have. I still have a lot more travel to do as well.
Absolutely.
And we don't know where the road will take me.
That's right. Well, I want to thank you so much, Johnny, for meeting with me today and talking to my viewers about your experiences here in Malaysia. And I want to thank you for introducing me to this cafe too. It's really lovely.
Beautiful. Yeah.
I have some footage I'll show you here of what it looks like from the outside, and you can actually see how close it is to the Twin Towers. But thanks, Johnny. I mean, I appreciate it so much. It's so exciting for me to meet someone young that watches my channel. I mean, who would think? Because I get the demographics online about who watches my channel, and you're in a very tiny percentage.
Oh, okay, very.
So I appreciate it.
I do think that you have a very nice charm, and I wouldn't honestly I could definitely see more people my age being drawn to you, because again, I think authenticity is a major thing that my generation is lacking. I think we crave it almost, right? Because everything now is so fake and so, instant. So, if anything, I should be thanking you,
Well, thanks, Johnny. And I hope we can stay in touch while you're here.
Absolutely.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed meeting Johnny. Isn't he a fascinating young man? I am really impressed. It gives me hope for the future. That's what I'll say. As you can see, I'm not home. I'm in Penang again with Earl Grey. We came up to Penang for a week to visit friends and just to get out of KL for a little while. I don't know if I'll make a video here or not. I might just take a break. If you enjoyed today's video, please like and subscribe and check the notification bell too. That way you won't miss any of my future content. Also, buy me a coffee if you can. It really helps to support my channel. I'm going to start something new here. And I'm going to show the people that have given coffee recently to me. Now, some of them don't leave a name, so sorry about that. But for the ones that do, I want to thank you so much for your generous support. It means a lot to me. It's funny, too, because some weeks I do pretty well with the coffees. Like, this week wasn't bad. But for the video before on bakeries, I didn't get any coffee money. Can you believe it? I guess people were too busy thinking about pastries than sending Taylor any coffee money. Oh well. But that's all I have for today, everyone. I went out with some viewers yesterday from Australia, and I saw them in KL, and then I saw them here in Penang too, so that's a treat. But I hope you all have a great week, and I hope you're all happy and healthy. Talk to you later. Bye.
Get